Hello guys and welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to talk about Demonology Warlocks, and it's going to be a PvE guide. So I'm going to learn you all the core structures on how to play a Demonology Warlock, and what we're going through is basically the stats, the Azerite traits, the talents, and the gameplay on how to play a Demonology Warlock. So this guide is mainly for, you can say, patch 8.1. I know that 8.15 is out. It hasn't really changed a lot on the rotation wise on how you play Demonology Warlock, though it has nerfed a lot of, you can say it has nerfed a lot the Azerite trait called Explosive Potential. It had reduced the haste you actually get from it, and it has also reduced the energy that your fill guard is actually getting. So you can say from those two nerfs, it's basically that. So from the rotation wise, it's nothing changing, unless you can say your spells is probably maybe dealing less damage from the Azerite traits and your fill guard because of the energy is getting lower. So with that said, is that we are now going to go through the stats, Azerite, talents, and gameplay. So should we just dive directly into it and let's have fun. So first of all, we're going to talk about the stats. So without the Azerite trait called Explosive Potential, let's start with that one because you're going to have two different focuses. So first of all, without Explosive Potentials, you're going to focus on haste and mastery. So if you don't have the Azerite trait called Explosive Potential, so let me just read that up. When your implosion consume 3 or more imps, you gain 224 haste for 15 seconds. Of course it scales depending on eye level on the item. But without having this Azerite trait, so you don't get this haste bonus, the Azerite, the stats you're going to focus on getting is basically haste and mastery. Haste is really good as it increases your attack speed, and it also you can say this passive spell you have called Demonic Core, it is getting actually benefits from it because now you're able to summon more demons that will help getting more procs on Demonic Core, and the more procs on Demonic Core, the more soul shards you're getting, the more damage you're going to get outputted. Mastery is increasing the damage of your demons, so increases damage done by your demons by a percent amount depending on your mastery. So you can say haste and mastery is like the main stat for you. Intellect is of course also a really good stat for you, and it will be automatically on all your items. The only item you will not be getting it on, and you actually have to actively choose it, is going to be your trinket. So you could say haste and mastery is probably better for your trinkets, but intellect can also be really good because it will increase your overall damage. After that, it's critical strike, as it has the chance to make all your spells critical strike, and the last one would be versatility. But if you're using the Azerite trait called Explosive Potential, the main stat you should focus on then is mastery and critical strike. But after mastery, critical strike, it's going to be intellect again, and then haste, and then versatility. So you can say haste is still good, but with Explosive Potential, it's giving you a lot of more haste, so you don't need that big haste cap, you can say. So after having with Explosive Potential, mastery and critical strike are two both really strong traits as stats, and then intellect, and then you have haste. Like you can see from these two stat lists right now which one is basically replacing, but it all depends of if you're running with Explosive Potential or not Explosive Potential. But overall you can see mastery is a king every time. So that is pretty much the stats for when you play Demonology Warlock. The next one we're going to look on is the Azerite traits, for which Azerite trait is actually, you can say, good for playing with. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called Baleful Invocation. This one here has a really great burst increasement. So your demonic turret demon fire deals 866 additional damage, and summoning your demonic turret instantly generates 5 soul shards. So you could say pretty much this one here deals a lot of damage passively, but also every time you're summoning your demonic tyrants, it generates 5 soul shards. So you can say it's pretty good to have this one here with just one trait, because as long as you have one trait, it will automatically generate these. You could say generate these 5 soul shards. So Baleful Invocation is of course strong if you still want to stack it. It will not give you more than 5 soul shard, but it will give more additional damage to its demon fire. But one Baleful Invocation would probably just be good, because then this cooldown is going to be a lot stronger. Then you also have Explosive Potential. So Explosive Potential is what we just talked about, where when you use your Implosion to consume 3 or more imps, you gain haste for 15 seconds, scaling on your eye level of course. And this one here is, well, before the nerf we got in 8.15, it was really strong, but after 8.15 it got I think it was 33% nerf, so it's of course not that strong anymore, but it's still a really strong Azerite trait. So Explosive Potential is still on the number 2, I would say, on the list together. Well, not Baleful and Explosive could probably be together on the list. The third one is Treasure's Covenant. That is pretty much a really good Azerite trait for a lot of classes. So it gives you more primary stat, that in this case would be Intellect, every time you are above 50% health. And when you take, well, if you are under 20% health, you will take 15 increased damage. So you could say if you're under 20% health, it's a bad trait, but as long as you're over 50% health, it's a really good trait. So these 3 Azerite traits is the one that I recommend mainly to play with. So that was the Azerite traits and the stats for Demonology Warlock. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the talents. So let's switch over to the talent screen and let's go through each row to see which talent is best for which situation. And here we are at the talents. So let's go through each row of the talents where I'll explain exactly which talent that is best for each scenarios, and you can say my opinion on why. So let's go through the first row. So on the first row for level 15, I recommend Bile Scourge Bombers for 1 to 2 targets. So best on single target and multiple targets, so like 1 to 2 targets. So for 1 to 2 targets, Bile Scourge has a really good burst and damage on single targets and 2 targets. But if you're running with Explosive Potential where you get the haste increasement, Demonic Strength can actually also be good on single target. So if you have a good haste and you also have a good Explosive Potential Azerite trait we just talked about that give you additional haste, Demonic Strength can actually also be really good on single target. And it can actually, sometimes with a lot of haste, it can actually be better even than Bile Scourge Bombers. Also, the Demonic Strength is the best one for over 3 targets. So every time there's more than 3 targets is the best one. So if you could potentially get a lot of haste with the Explosive Potential, Demonic Strength is going to be really strong on both single target and plus 3 targets. So in that case, you would say it's quite cool. But again, as standard default and also without Explosive Potential, Bile Scourge Bombers is the best one at 1 to 2 targets. So that's up to you, of course, also which one you would prefer. The next row, Doom, is the best. If you sim your damage and you look on the paper, Doom is the best one in this row to actually deal the most damage. Doom can be quite tricky to play with. I mean, in dungeons where maybe the monsters is not going to be surviving for those 27 seconds, it can be quite tricky to actually get used of Doom. And then Demonic Calling could actually be a good one replacing. Demonic Calling is just slightly behind Doom in damage. So you could say Demonic Calling is just right after Doom, and it's still a quite good talent. But on paper, on bosses and multiple targets, Doom is actually the best one, if you actually can get it used correctly, because you have to wait those 27 seconds before it actually works. So that's the bad side about it. The next row, it's pretty much up to you if you want to have a survival shield that will heal and will keep you up if you need more movement, or passively just have a bigger shield that is going to, you can say, this soul leech that is going now to capacitate 15% additional health as shield on you. So if you want to have an active shield, a more running cooldown, running spell you can say, or just passively have some more health. On the next row, again, Summon Wildfind here is actually again the best one for single target and multiple targets. So 1 to 2 targets. But when you get over 2 targets and it's +3, Soul Strike is pretty much the best one. The reason for why Soul Shard is the best one is because it generates soul shards. The more soul shards you have against multiple targets, the more damage you can deal to multiple targets. For example, you're using Hand of Gul'dan as a multiple target spell. So the more soul shards you can get, the more Hand of Gul'dan you can actually throw out and deal more damage on AoE. But single target or multiple target, Summon Wildfind is the best one, as you could say with the Bile Scourge Bombers. But Soul Strike is probably the best one when you actually get more than 3 targets and you need more soul shards for dealing more damage. Capiche? The next row, again, it's up to you if you want to have a little interrupt and healing spell, or if you want to have a lower cooldown on your stun, or if you want to have a demonic circle. In most cases, I think people are using demonic circles to get a quicker round and helping the team, but that's pretty much again up to you. For the next row, before patch 8.1.5, it was pretty much always Grimoire Felguard, but now they have fixed how much energy that Felguards are getting, so they actually deal a little less damage. Remember, it's not a nerf, it's a fix. It was not supposed to get as much energy that Felguard was actually getting, so now it's just working correctly, and of course you could say that's kind of a nerf, but Grimoire Felguard is still a really good spell. Still a really good burst spell and really good damage wise, but actually Soul Conduit now can actually come up on Grimoire Felguard now, and in some cases it can deal more damage. But again, Grimoire Felguard is like, you know what you get. Soul Conduit is a random spell, so every soul shard you spend has a 15% chance to be refunded. So you can see there is this little random element in it, but sometimes when it procs all the time, it's ridiculous damage you get. So you could say sometimes Soul Conduit is really strong and powerful, and I think maybe a lot of people will now prefer to take it, but Grimoire Felguard is also still a really strong one. It's a bit nerfed because they fixed Felguards, but still, it's still a great one. So I would say it's up to you, but this one here has, you know what you get, and this one here can be random but really strong. On the last row, we have, I would say, Nether Portals and Demonic Consumption. So Nether Portals is really strong. You could say single target wise and also multiple target, you could say Nether Portals is really strong. So you open up a portal every time you use a soul shard, you're summoning a demon that fights for you. But Demonic Consumption is also really great, and before when you use your Demonic Tyrant, it actually made all your, you can say, all your monsters stronger and made them be alive longer time. It still does that, but now it, instead of making the wild imps longer time and deal more damage, it actually absorbs the wild imps and make itself stronger. And it can actually increase its own damage up to over 140% increased damage. That is quite a lot. I mean, already now Demonic Tyrant was dealing a lot of damage, but now it can burst its damage up to over 140%. That is really a lot. So I would say Demonic Consumption is probably the best burst spell and really strong. Nether Portals can also be really good. Sacrificed Souls, I must agree that I am not really seeing the use of it, but both Demonic Consumption and Nether Portals can be really good, and I probably think that my favorite one is Demonic Consumption. So you could say on a single target build standard, I would probably have something that looked like this. And on a multiple targets build, I would probably have something that would look like, maybe even Grim of Felgar would be pretty cool on that. I would probably have something that looked like this. But let's go back to my dear single target spec. Here we go. Okay. So that was the talents. I hope you appreciated my explanations on the talents and which talents I recommend for using in which scenarios. The last part now is going to be about the gameplay. So let's switch over to the dummy and talk about gameplay. Okay, let's talk about the gameplay section. So I will kind of break it down in talking about the rotation, talking about how to open up, and what you should kind of look out for while playing the game. So first of all, before we talk about the rotation, I want to cover the spell here. So you have your demonic core spell here. That is a pretty cool one. So every time you have your wild imps and they explode, you have a chance for actually getting a free cast on Demon Bolt. There will be free cast. You also have a chance that when you summon Dreadstalkers fade away, you have a 100% chance to get a stack from them. So with this one here, it pretty much gives you a free, you can say, well, it basically says here, Demonic Core reduce the cast time of your Demon Bolt by 100. So it basically you get a free cast without having a 4-second cast time. It gives you a free cast of Demon Bolt, it deals a lot of damage. It gives you 2 shoulder shots. So this is kind of, you can say, a very important spell that you have to look out for. So the most important thing that we have to discuss is the opener. So how should a Demonology Warlock open up? So that's a very, I would say, important thing. So let's say this is the boss right now. We have the boss over here. He has a skull and etc. So now we can see that the tank is talking about, okay guys, let's do this, let's go. The first thing I would always do is I would precast my Demon Bolt. So if I can see he's about to pull the boss in, like, let's say 2-3 seconds, I would begin to cast my Demon Bolt and make it ready, because it actually takes 4 seconds to cast. So every time he's about to, like 2-3 seconds before he's going to pull the boss, I would begin to cast a Demon Bolt, because Demon Bolt deals a lot of damage and it gives you 2 stacks of soul shards, so you actually have full soul shards in the start of a fight. This will help you a lot. So again, now the tank is going in 2 seconds and we're going to now cast a Demon Bolt, and the Demon Bolt should hit on the same time on the boss as, you could say, the tank is hitting. So now the tank is on the boss and we are ready. Our rotation is now going. So after casting Demon Bolt, I would cast a Doom and then a Bile Scourge Bombers if I play with it. If I didn't play with Bile Scourge Bombers, I would use my Demonic Strange in that time. So again, first precast Demon Bolt, Doom, and then Bile Scourge Bombers. For the next after that, I'm going to summon my Summon Wildfind. Then I'm getting Shadow Bolt until I have 5 stacks of my Soul Shards, and then I'll Hand of Gul'dan, Dreadstalkers, and Demonic Tyrant very fast before my demons expires. This is the rotation on opener. And now you're probably thinking, why are you opening like this? And let me kind of explain to you why my opener is like this. So we started with a Demon Bolt. If we can make this guy stop. We started with a Demon Bolt to get up 5 soul shards. So we had a really good start. After that we used Doom, so it's already on, because you want to be able to, Doom is like one of the first spells you would get out, so it actually, you could say, for those 27 seconds before it actually attacks, that they already are counting on and ready to attack. So first of all, precast Demon Bolt, then use Doom, so those 27 seconds is already beginning counting. Then For the next thing you use is Bile Scourge Bombers, and that's pretty much because you already want Bile Scourge Bombers to be ready on cooldown again soon. So you're just getting it out for just getting it out. Then you're using Summon Wildfind, and the reason for why you use Summon Wildfind is because it will be alive for 15 seconds. And you don't want to use your Demonic Tyrant before Wildfind is about to expire. Because when you use your Wildfind, it will be alive for 15 seconds. Then when your Wildfind is about to die, you use Demonic Tyrant and it will be alive for 15 seconds more. This is really great. So when I use my Doom and Bile Scourge Bomb, I pretty much have, I have like 3 soul shards back. And the next goal, you can actually also get lower than that. But the next goal now is to get 5 soul shards. It's very important that you get these 5 soul shards before Summon Wildfind is expiring, so you can get out a Hand of Gul'dan, a Dreadstalker, and then use Demonic Torrent. Because then Demonic Torrent will, all the pets you just summoned, will be there for 15 seconds more and we deal more damage. It's very super important. So let me go through my rotation again. So we're about to pull now. Let me get up my Felguard. Okay, so we're about to pull now. So first I will use a Demon Bolt as our precast. Then Doom, Bile Scourge Bombers, Summon Wildfind, get Soul Shards back to 5. Now Dreadstalkers, Hand of Gul'dan, and summon our Dark Tyrant. Boom. And you could say that the Wildfind was about to expire, but it didn't expire because we used our Demonic Tyrant, and our Dreadstalkers we have alive is also going to be alive for a very long time now. You can see they're still here, all the pets, and they have been, my Wildfire cooldown is almost ready again. So I can use it now in 10 seconds and it's back again. So this is like, it's a really good and strong opener to get out a really good burst of all the demons and have them active for a very long time, and you can say as an opener. So enough about the opener. So after this opener, let's talk about what you have to do then. So every time you're controlling some pets, for example, when you're using your Dreadstalkers and they expire, when they actually dies, they have a 100% chance to activate Demonic Core. Demonic Core makes your Demon Bolt instant cast, and that is really cool. So you can see now they disappeared, and I was so lucky to actually get 2 stacks. So that means I can use Demon Bolt and Demon Bolt, and now I'm back on 4 soul shards. So that would mean now we'd be able to use my Bile Scourge Bombers, I would be able to use Summon Wildfind, and now try to get up 5 soul shards. So I would be able to cast a Dreadstalker and a Hand of Gul'dan, and then use my Torrent again. And boom, I'm on an insane streak again. Also, if you play with Doom, it's very important that you refresh it every time it expires. But it's very important that you wait for it actually to deal damage. Because if it just expires again, nothing happens. You need to wait for those 27 seconds before it actually deals the damage. Well, you could also refresh it. It's okay you refresh it because it will not refresh. You don't have to wait 27 seconds before it actually deals damage. And if you refresh it, you can see it goes up to 35 seconds and 35 seconds again. So it's okay to use it before it expires. So when there's like 2 seconds back, it's okay for you to refresh it. But it doesn't refresh the whole 27 seconds you have. It behind the scene, Blizzard is controlling when it deals damage. So you don't think about that. They automatically knows when to deal damage. So, but don't refresh it all the time. Wait till it's actually close to expiring, or else you would waste a global cooldown. But after that, I would just say it's very important that you use Bile Scourge Bombers all the time. It's very important you use Wildfind all the time. Every time you don't have anything to do, use your Shadow Bolt to try get more soul shards. And every time you have 4 till 5 soul shards, you should use your Dreadstalkers and you should use a Hand of Gul'dan. And of course also try to use your Dreadstalker as much as possible. I know they have 20-second cooldown, but in those 20 seconds it's very cool for you to actually have your rotation going around. But pretty much your opener should be like your main window of damage, and then every time your turret is ready again, you can pretty much restart the rotation and do everything again from the start. So again, refresh Doom so it never expires. Use your Demon Bolt every time you get these stacks so you can use it instant cast. Use Shadow Bolt to fish for more soul shards. Use Spiral Scourge every time you can. Use Wildfind every time you can. And use Demonic Tyrant every time you can say you have used your full packs of summon. You have to use Dreadstalkers. You have to use Wildfind to actually, before you're allowed to use Demonic Tyrant, so you give them more lifetime and you deal more damage. It's kind of important. And Hand of Gul'dan is only scaling up to 3, so if you have 3 soul shards, it will summon, depending on how much soul shards, it will summon the base on, you can see right now, boom, it summoned 3 imps. We also have to consider one thing. So we also have the Azerite trait called, a very important one, called Explosive Potential. So in this case here, when you explode, Implosion consumes 3 or more imps, you gain 500 haste. If you have this one here in your Azerite trait, it's very important that every time you're using Hand of Gul'dan with 3 soul shards, that you actually use your spell called Implosion. So you can see now I have 3 imps, and when I use Implosion, I would actually get the buff if I had it in my gear, the Azerite trait. It's really important that you use that one if you actually have that Azerite trait, because the 500 stat, the 500 haste you will get is really much. I mean, that's really much. So if you have that, you need to add that to your rotation. But don't use Implosion in your opener. That's the first thing you do after your opener. So kinda after your opener, try to get 3 soul shards for Hand of Gul'dan and then use Implosion. But don't use Implosion in your opener, because you want to focus on getting out all your pets on Demonic Torrent as the last thing, like I showed in the opener. Yeah. So that should be pretty much it. Boom. So again guys, I hope you enjoyed this little guide. And again, it was a Demonology Warlock PvE guide where we have been going through the stats, the Azerite traits, talents, and the gameplay. And keep in mind that this is a very standard guide, a very core principle guide. So I'm learning you all the core principles of this spec and how to play it. So kind of what should I do, what should I get, and so on and so on. So from here on, when you learn my basic guide, you should yourself get up and learn more and be of course better to the class. But I'm making sure that you know everything you need to know about the class and the spec, so you don't fail, you could say. So I hope you liked the guide. Leave down a comment if you have any questions, or if you have any things you would like to mention for me. Maybe you disagree with some of the things, or maybe you agree. But please leave down a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about this guide, and I would really appreciate it. So thanks you guys for watching. Have a really great evening, and well, leave down a comment. The last bonus question I have for you: how is the microphone in this video? Because I got a new microphone. I have this this big microphone now, instead of you can see my headset microphone is now up, and I'm using this big microphone now. So please leave down a comment. How is the sound? Is the sound actually better, or do you don't like this microphone here? It's the Blue Yeti. So thanks guys for watching. Have a great evening. Peace out.